This is a book called No Ordinary Apple. It's a story about eating mindfully. It was an ordinary day, full of ordinary things. After school, Elliot went to his neighbor Carmen's house. He always went there until his parents got home from work. Hi, Carmen. Hi, Elliot. How was school? It was okay. May I have a snack before I start my homework? Asked Elliot. Of course. Would you like an apple? An apple? Don't you have any candy? Sorry, I'm all out of candy, but try this apple. It's very special. What's so special about it? It looks pretty ordinary to me. Oh, this is no ordinary apple, said Carmen. It might surprise you. Will it give me superpowers? Well, I don't know. Would you like to find out? She asked. How? Said Elliot. Eat the apple like you've never tasted one before. Only then will you discover what makes it so special. But I've eaten about 1,000,000 apples. How can I do that? Asked Elliot. First off, tell me this. What color is the apple? It's red, Elliot said quickly. Is it? Look very closely. Elliot rolled the apple around in his hands. He noticed that some spots were pure red and others were a little brown. There were even a few dull black speckles. There are so many different colors here. I guess it isn't just red. Very good observation. And what does it feel like? Elliot looked puzzled. Like an apple? He said. Carmen laughed. Slowly feel it with your fingers. What do you notice? It's a little cold. Some parts are smooth and others are bumpy. Some places are hard and some are a little soft. Neat. Elliot was about to take a bite when Carmen gently raised her hand to stop him. Not yet. You haven't listened to it. Listen to the apple? How weird, Elliot thought. Feeling a little silly, he held it up to his ear, expecting to hear something. He heard nothing. Is that the only way to listen to an apple? Carmen asked. Elliot got an idea. He tossed the apple up in the air. As it landed in his hands, he heard a hollow thwop. Elliot smiled. He probably made that sound 1,000,000 times before, but he never actually heard it. Now do I take a bite? He asked, growing a bit impatient. Not quite yet. What does it smell like? Elliot took a sniff. Fruity, I guess, and a little like flowers, and springtime. After another moment, he laughed. It also feels cold and smooth against my nose. Carmen smiled. Can I take a bite now? Elliot could feel his tummy rumbling. Sure, said Carmen, but I wonder what else you might discover if you bite it very, very slowly. Elliot really wanted to figure out the secret of the apple, so he decided to try. As he held it up to his lips, he noticed his mouth was already watering. He was pretty sure this had never happened with an apple before. As his teeth sunk in, he heard a loud crisp crunch. He noticed the sweet appley juiciness in his mouth and the little juice drops tickling his chin. The peel felt a bit stringy. The flesh felt cool and a little spongy. Then came a burst of familiar, fresh appley smell. Notice what the apple tastes like in different parts of your mouth. You can do this if you chew it very, very slowly and roll it around. Oh, and try not to swallow just yet. Do you think you can do that? Asked Carmen. Elliot nodded. First, he chewed with his front teeth, then with the teeth on one side, then on the other. Next, he rolled the chewed up apple around in his mouth. He even tried smushing the apple against the top of his mouth with his tongue. He tasted it on the back of his tongue, the center, the front, one side, the other side. He really wanted to swallow the whole time, but he was determined not to. He was going to discover the secret. Are you ready to swallow it now? Yes, please, Elliot said through his apple-filled mouth. Go ahead and see what it feels like as the apple travels to your belly. It may help if you close your eyes. Elliot closed his eyes and concentrated as he swallowed. He could feel the moistness of the apple as it went down his throat. His belly had stopped rumbling and even felt a little more full. "What do you notice?" asked Carmen. "You know, the apple did taste different at the front of my mouth than the back. In one part it was sweet, in another kind of tart, like two fruits in one." Even after all this time, Elliot still wasn't sure what made this particular apple so special. Yes, it was more colorful, more tasty, more fragrant, more noisy than any apple he'd ever eaten. In fact, it was the most apple-y apple ever. But why? "What's the secret?" Elliot asked. "Why is this apple so super apple-y? What did you do to make it that way?" "Ah," said Carmen, "it's not what I did that made it so special. It's what you did." Elliot looked proud. "What I did?" "By slowing down when eating this apple and being curious about how it looks, feels, sounds, smells, and tastes, you made it extraordinary. And you know what? You can do this with any food." Elliot thought about this for a moment. His eyes sparkled. "Jelly beans? Sure. Ice cream? Absolutely. Even macaroni and cheese?" Elliot couldn't imagine macaroni and cheese being even better. Yes, even macaroni and cheese. Wow. "You know, Elliot, you can try this with foods that aren't your favorite too." "Really? I don't know. Broccoli is pretty gross. And peas. I don't think I could ever eat peas so slowly." "Well, it's worth a try. Maybe start with one little pea. You might be amazed at what you discover. Just like with the apple." Elliot thought for a moment. Then he slowly and mindfully ate rest of the apple. He thought about all the foods he could eat this way. He couldn't wait to show his family and friends. Suddenly, a huge smile washed over his face. He remembered that today was Friday, and that meant pizza night. The end.